Hello everyone, welcome back to FPL Jedi Show. This is Gameweek 12 Deadline Stream. Happy Saturday morning everyone. My name is Hafiz and would like to welcome my buddy Azmin to the stream. How are you, brother?
I'm good. Getting ready. Getting ready is going to be very busy from now on until the end of the year. So yep, I'm that the international break. Enough time. That's it. Let's go.
All right, we definitely will take a look at Game Week 12 fixture first. There's plenty of news that we are looking at right now because after the international break, we also understand there's a lot of players who did not actually went for the international duty. They expected some injury and so on. So I think there's plenty of team news that we are looking forward to. And there's some big news, in terms of how we're going to pan out in terms of all FPL team. All right, let's jump to Game Week 12 fixture. As we all know, the early kickoff lunchtime will be Leicester versus Chelsea, where Enzo Maresca will return back to his old club. So we shall see whether that will be a good outing for the manager. And then we have 5 fixture at 11 p.m. Malaysian time, Arsenal versus Forest. So Arsenal are facing Forest now in the top bracket right now, so there will be a tough fixture. Villa versus Palace, I think this is a crucial match also for Villa team. And Crystal Palace, who are in dire form right now. Bournemouth versus Brighton, both teams are also looking at points. Everton versus Brentford. Everton, who actually managed to secure a draw, but it is not good enough in terms of performance. They're really looking at this fixture. And Fulham versus Wolves. Midnight match for Saturday. It's a big one for Man City, especially. They already lost 4 continuous fixture in all competition. So they're facing Spurs. Whether Haaland can bounce back in terms of giving us points, we shall see this match. And on Sunday, we have 2 fixtures, Southampton versus Liverpool. Liverpool on top of the table right now, 5 points gap. Closest rival, Man City. Can they continue? They should continue with Mo Salah rested during this international break. And then we have Ruben Amorim, first game in charge against Ipswich away. Will Ipswich spoil the first game for Manchester United? We shall see. And then Monday night match, Newcastle versus West Ham. Plenty of fixture here, All right, I think let's jump to the first team news, Everyone wants to know, especially what's the latest news for Leicester and Chelsea.
Right. So first up, early kickoff, Leicester versus Chelsea. Big problem with Leicester is that Abdul Fatawu missing the rest of the season, and the other big problem, of course, possibly Leicester's best attacking player, Buonanotte, is actually suspended now. Buonanotte, who, if you guys remember, was previously Brighton, currently with Leicester. Jamie Vardy has been in modified training, so there's no real information as to what exactly does that mean. But then realistically, when you think about it, Jamie Vardy has been in modified training for years now. Because we all know that, to take care of his health, because he's getting along, so he doesn't do the typical training that the other his other teammates do. So personally, I think it's fine. I think that's not going to be a problem. I think that Vardy will start, and I think they need him to start. Then the only thing is that you got McAteer coming in, and Mahdidi also as well should continue and win NDD. So there's a bit of discounting as to whether or not this is attacking, but we do know that Leicester, so far this season, they've only blanked once. So you would expect them to still be able to score, especially at home. Okay, so that's Leicester. Now, Chelsea, surprise, Reece James is now out for game week 12 with a hamstring problem. And, I've seen some Twitter posts on Twitter, or X, as you now call it, that, people appreciate the fact that Reece James is such a good family person, because during the Christmas period, that's when he always seems to be taking a break for his family, so he doesn't he doesn't play. So it does look like this might be the start of him being out, but not to worry, it's not an issue, because as you know, Chelsea's players are well stocked. So, and Cucurella comes, okay, yep, sorry, mentioned James the Glass come back 4 games, then out. Yeah, exactly 4 games. It's nice. He managed to make it. Well, thanks for letting us know, Brendan. Just 4 games, and now he's out again. And realistically, I don't think even this time around, I found myself briefly thinking, but then, no, just, on basis of history, he's not reliable. And let's just say on FPL wise, he's totally irrelevant. There's no way that he's coming back. Okay. So anyway, doesn't matter. Cucurella comes in, and Cucurella, we know he is solid, and we know that he has previously responsible for shackling Saka last time around, and he did it to good success as well. So not an issue there. So Cucurella should start, and I think he should continue to start anyway. So the only thing is with Chelsea is because they have quite a few people coming back from international duty. So and although supposedly everything is okay, not to worry, but I do worry about players like Lavia and even Caicedo. And Caicedo, for your info, is it 2 days ago or early yesterday, his partner gave birth to a girl. So, we don't know that will have any impact. We don't know, but just for your info. And of course, we aren't picking Caicedo on the FPL wise, but it does have an impact on how Chelsea play. Now, the problem with currently that I'm facing is that wait, let me clear out any there's no other serious, other than James, there's no one who's been ruled out totally. So my concern is that I know that Enzo Fernandez was also on international duty in South America, and he's also coming back, but he trained as well. So we do know in the past few games after Chelsea's game with Liverpool, Maresca has adjusted the formation a bit. So, it's got Gusto running up as a number 10, coming from the back and coming in as a number 10, joining Palmer. And you also have Pedro Neto playing on the left, as well as Madueke playing on the right. So the thing is, with this shift, because previously Palmer was more towards the right side, now she's more towards the left side. But it does seem to have, I don't know if it really is, or it's just a case because he's facing harder fixtures, and that's why Maresca has adjusted that formation. But it seems to have resulted in a output reduction for Palmer. So I'm not sure whether he'll continue to do this way, but because let's face it, Leicester is not Arsenal, for example. So he may revert back to the previous formation. So either way, it does look good for Chelsea for this one. So I also like to put a spot out to Pedro Neto, who last week, game week 11, he scored, and I think he's a really good, solid. He's moved into the starting lineup at the expense of Sancho, but too bad, because I do think that Pedro Neto is a better player. I think Madueke still needs work, and I think he can be rotated. But in any case, whatever it is, when it comes to Chelsea, Jackson and Palmer should still be your main picks.
Yep. I think the most important thing, Palmer and everyone who miss out the international duties spotted in training, they should be available. The predicted lineup also shows that. I think I don't know whether this is a good thing or not, with James out, we can confirm that Gusto and Cucurella should be starting this game. And if you're thinking about who to get for your wildcard team, especially on defense, I think you should not overthink and take the cheapest 4.5 million, whether in the form of Colville or Fofana. And people also looking at Palmer and Jackson in the thing. So you can pick those players. They should be available for this week. All right. The predicted score for this is Chelsea 1-3-1 and BBC. So you can pick your choice. Let's go to
just to note, this is the early kickoff, so we may get team news, and I'm one of those who's going to be waiting, and trying to figure out. So let's see how we go.
All right, let's go to the next one. Also, another important team news for Arsenal and for us, and for Arsenal especially, because we know in terms of Saka doubtful, but the big news I think is coming from Ben White, who gonna miss. Arteta mentioned about few months, So what's the latest news?
Yeah, Ben White is definitely out, so that's the same problem. We do know Tommy Yasu, of course, is still out as well, and there's another guy, Kieran Tierney, who forgotten guy, also still not available. But it doesn't matter because you have Calafiori and Timber who will play, and Calafiori is available, so he'll be back, and it looks like that will be the back four. So Saka and Rice return to training today with a partial session. I'm not sure what partial session means, and I have my worries. But of course, we do know that Arteta does this. So and who's the guy? There's the Ukrainian guy.
Zinchenko.
But there was some. I saw some on the social media saying that he revealed that Arteta likes trying to trick opposing managers, bringing injured players into the bus, that kind of thing. So it's but I think we kind of laughed because it comes from Arsenal themselves saying that. So I guess it's no longer much of a surprise. So other than that, so yesterday that partial training for Rice and Saka, so it remains to be seen whether they will start, but it does cause a bit of worry. Yes, Brendan, Arteta likes to scam. So it is in consequence for those who already have Saka, of course, fine. But for those who are looking at Saka, they may have second thoughts. Okay, so on the Forest side, no different changes. So just the long-term Danilo and Sangaria, fine. So we know that Forest lost 3-1 against Newcastle last time out. So, but we do also, I still vividly remember Forest destroying or frustrating Liverpool and at Anfield and losing 1-0. So this is a game that Arsenal should not take lightly. It's going to be tough one. I do think Arsenal will still win, but it's going to be tough.
Yep, I think this is where we look at Arsenal. Suddenly, Ben White out for a while during Timber has become an option for FPL pick. I think that's what people are thinking right now. If you do not have any Arsenal defense, especially if you're talking about Gabriel and Saliba, and if you want to save some money, 5.5 million Timber is the price right now. Or another option, a double up in Arsenal defense instead of Gabriel and Saliba, you could go for Timber. I think that's the option that people are looking at, especially as a replacement for TA. Later we touch on the team news for Liverpool, but that's what people are looking at.
Yeah, it's just annoying that it's not cheap. 5.5 for Timber. It's like you might as well go add another 0.5 and go for Gabriel. Even Calafiori is 5.8. Gosh.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, so you need to be careful on the pay. Even though Arteta mentioned about partial session for both Rice and Saka, we do expect them to start, right?
Yeah, they're at home, so yeah, we do know Arteta will start Saka unless But to be fair, the last international break after that, there was it turned out he did have an issue. I think there was one where we thought Arteta was faking it, and he did really have it.
So it's still a mind game for us, especially if you're thinking about Saka to get in. I think there will be some thought whether you could delay it to next week to confirm Saka return, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go next match, mate. Aston Villa versus Palace. Also interestingly, Emery. Also somewhere we read about also Villa lost 4 games in a row, right? For competition for Villa, so they really want to bounce back. Last time they lost to Liverpool 2-0, and they definitely want to put a good show at home against a depleted Crystal Palace, may I say? So what's the latest news?
Okay, so Villa, yes. So 4 games in a row in all competitions. That's the 2 Premier League games, 1 EFL, and 1 Champions League game. So it's really, I think the international break was a good break for Emery to restock and let's regroup. So the problem now is with Villa is that some of the mainstays are out. You know, we got Konza out, we got Onana out, then Kamara out. You know, Ramsey, of course, you know, but he's out as well. But he has been good for Villa in the past. So it's a bit of a shake-up in terms of the lineup. So you got Barkley, Tillsman, and Bailey there. And of course, Diego Carlos steps into at centre back. The good thing, of course, we got Cash back. Well, a good thing in one way, not so good thing in one way, because Diego Carlos is nowhere as good as Consab. And the problem with Villa is that they always do seem to concede regardless. So it is a problem. So, but most of us who have Rodgers, maybe not so much Watkins these days, but Rodgers is still there, and because he's cheap, and you'd think that he will still play against Palace, and regardless of whatever Champions League, I think they play Juventus in midweek. Yeah, but I can see Aston Villa still playing a full, the full strength lineup that they can have, and they'll looking to sub early if possible. So on Palace, the biggest news is that Eze has trained, but then he's still not ready, so he won't be going for this game. We do know that Nketiah is still out as well. Let me just check on that. Nketiah is out as well as Wharton. Those are the key players. So that Doucouré is ready for a start. So yes, he will most likely come in. Although and then Will Hughes is back as well. If you remember that Will Hughes, last game week he was banned. Yeah, he was serving a suspension. So the problem now is Crystal Palace are like Villa. They last time out they lost, and they need to win as well. They desperate. They currently 7 points. They're in the relegation zone. The one positive thing about Palace is that I found out that Mateta has scored the most goals against Villa. Mateta has a good record against Villa, and he has the most goals and assists, which is in total, which is against Villa. So you would think that can this be about the trend a bit and see Palace fighting a bit? I'm not sure, but it's definitely something to look about, and probably means that it's probably not a best idea. That I'm sure some FPL managers have Konsa. You probably don't want to replace Konsa with another Villa defender. So you probably need to look elsewhere, because I do think that Palace will score, because Mateta has a good record, plus they are also quite desperate to get points as well.
You did mention about Aston Villa also some injury in terms of their player. We can see there in the team news, Konza, Ramsey, Onana. So they most probably be out. Will that affect in terms of performance of Aston Villa versus Palace? Because in BBC Sports did predict Villa going to be too strong for Palace and win 3-1.
I don't know. It's just that the lineup has been adjusted quite significantly. So and to be fair, Villa have come into this game not in pretty bad form themselves. So yeah, I'm not so sure 3-1 is a right score. I'm going for a draw actually.
All right, let's go to the next game. Bournemouth versus Brighton. We know in terms of performance, both teams are at the middle league of the table, but both teams are really perfect in terms of playing both. They will definitely play attacking. So what's the latest team news, Because I think those two teams are among the targets for especially people who are looking at wildcard team this week.
Yep. So Bournemouth, the biggest news for a lot of people who have him, Semenyo is fit. So he will play and he will start. I don't think there's any issues. with the manager, he's not I don't think he has a reputation for conning people. So Semenyo does it. And of course, Evan Nilsson will start as well. And Evan Nilsson, he's returned in the past 4 games. Consistently had returns with his assists or goals. So he's consistently returned there. And this could be, I personally, this could be a good match for FPL. Probably not for defenders, but for attackers. So on Brighton, so Hinchelwood is a doubt. Dunk is close and could return, but I'm getting mixed news about this one. I also got information that Dunk was only doing gym work and not so much training on the field. So I and I think the predicted lineup reflects that Rice, he's not ready. Baleba is back, so Baleba is very important and very crucial. Baleba is like your next. Who's the guy who you guys bought? Caicedo. Baleba is like the Caicedo 2.0 because I think he's really important to that lineup. And we do know also that Kadioglu is out, so which means that Estepinian gets the start. So he's definitely been looked at as an option. In the attack, Welbeck should be back to start. Of course, he had a chill international break alongside Pedro, who we know came back to the Brighton setup with a bang, scoring and assisting as a substitute against Manchester City, wasn't it? Yeah. So Pedro should start, and he's being considered a lot. And the thing with Pedro is that he's only, he's less than 5.5. He's one of the cheapest starting strikers. Yeah, I have no doubt that he should start. He's had enough rest, and he should be able to start. Maybe he'll get hauled off early. Most likely taking penalties as well. The manager has already given him a glowing commentary about how important he is, not just in terms of his ability, but in terms of his leadership on the field as well. So, I am pretty sure that he will start, and he's definitely an option. And I think that Brighton game could be a bit of a goal fest. Maybe 3-2. Yeah, it does look like it, because Bournemouth and Brighton are both mid-tier teams who are currently in good form. So, Bournemouth away, maybe not so much, but home, they are really, really good.
Okay. As can see here, so many owners, because also been past fit. I think it should be clear that they are expected to start. Dang, not so much. If you're thinking about getting any Brighton assets, you could go a safer choice like Van Hag, okay, because Dang maybe a little bit cheaper, 4.4. Van Hag 4.5, but you don't want to have that headache if you're getting him this week. Other than that, João Pedro, another option that people are looking at. Looks like he can start in this game as shown in the predicted lineup, so you could go there. All right, let's go to the next match, which is Everton versus Brentford, mate. Interestingly, Everton also, as you all know, need points at this. They could be really good at home, but against Brentford, who can actually score despite away games. So what's the latest for both teams?
Right. Everton versus Brentford. So this is the one game that I've been looking forward to the team news. We do know that Mbeumo was flagged before, so I'll just quickly deal with Brentford first. But we kind of all suspected it's probably in one of those international break injury things, and it's been confirmed. So all the FPL relevant assets really, Mbeumo, Wissa, Pinot are all expected to be fit. So that takes care of Brentford first. So for Everton, the biggest news for Everton is the fact that Branthwaite needs to come back, and it looks like he's trained today, and according to Dyke, so he's hopeful that he will get the start, and he's really, really important because he's just much better at reading the game and helping to organize that defense. So if Branthwaite comes back, it's going to be tough for Brentford. Although to be fair, Brentford are the most. If you need a case study for home and away, let's go for Brentford. Home, they score goals like no one's business.
Yeah.
Away, they just can't seem to win. Yeah, but they do still score goals. But Everton, other than Branthwaite, of course, is McNeil. So McNeil is someone I've had on my team. He's been simmering at the bench, and he is so important to Everton at the moment because he's the creative hub. Without McNeil, they can't create chances. We saw against West Ham, they drew 0-0, for example. So McNeil back does make quite a bit of difference. But at the same time, Everton, after this, their match fixtures look really bad. So while if you do have McNeil, I would recommend you starting him. But I wouldn't start bringing Everton players in, not right now.
Yep. This could be also if you still start with DCL. maybe this could be his last game if you still have him, because I believe there's some, when I watch some content creator, they mention about they still start with DCL because they have to put off any other fire in terms of their midfield or defense. So you could give him a run out. Maybe he will start this game, but it's going to be a tough one. You did mention about Maitland Min. If you have him, then you could play him. In terms of Brentford, especially on Visa and Mbomo, I think those are two players likely people will have, and they should be fit for this trip. So that's the summary for this game. All right. Next game, Fulham versus Wolves. I think there's particularly worry in terms of Mr. Raul Jimenez. I think Rakan FPL did mention about his minute. He actually played last game in Mexico. Could he be benched? I don't know whether you have latest news. Let's share, man.
All right. So for Raul Jimenez, thanks, Raka FPL. So for Raul Jimenez, on Wednesday morning, I was doing a Raul Jimenez watch on my Twitter. So because the Mexico game against Honduras started pretty late, about 10 o'clock in the morning or something, or 9 plus. Yeah. So first thing I did was check. Okay, so he starts. So and but it was clear because that he was so important to Mexico, and it was because they were in a 2-leg and they had lost the first leg 0-2. So this second leg they needed to win. But of course, while they're playing at home, they always have a good chance. And of course, Raul Jimenez opens the scoring, so he scores the first goal. And I think the second goal was also assisted by him as well. So he's so important, and he left. And in the end, Mexico won 4-0, I think, and he left to a standing ovation, which not surprising. So it's so important. And I just want to highlight that in terms of form, he's there. He knows what it takes to score goals. He's been there, and he's ready. So the only problem is that I was scouring around in between work trying to see if we got any flight information. I couldn't find anything. So it's nowhere like Joao Pedro's, but he did come back, and he was mentioned in Marco Silva's press conference, and he gave a glowing report about how important he was, and how he may not have been given that chance that he in other clubs, but we know that he's important to us. And looking at that, because I have Raul, and after finding out I was playing on Wednesday in my bus team, I put him on my bench. But now I put him back on to the starting lineup because it is a good matchup. Wolves are at the bottom, although the Wolves did win 2-0. And I think Raul will start. Okay, so in terms of the injury news, only Harrison Reed is out, so everyone else should be fine. And that lineup, you see, that's pretty much it. Although you have a option of Adama Traore, but I think he's off for now. And so Muniz is still in the waiting. So just a hint of caution due to Raul's, he's a bit older, so not as fast as others. So if you already have Raul now, it's good, but I wouldn't recommend you putting him in now. So during this busy period, 3 game weeks, Muniz can easily come in as the starting lineup to give Raul a rest. I feel because Fulham are in that position where they can do that. Muniz is not, obviously he didn't. We know from history last season he does well, but he just hasn't been able to recreate that form this season. But he's a like-for-like substitution and can be, and we've seen that already during matches. So it means that Raul could be subject to rotation. So that is a risk. So I wouldn't recommend you putting him in now. So on the Wolves bit, so Gary O'Neill is Arteta 2.0. They don't want to,
Yeah.
Very, very, and he's defensive and don't want to reveal anything. So he's that type of person. And unlike Arteta, I can't blame O'Neill because they were at the bottom. They're trying to, why would they give any further information away? But I did scour some Wolves football forums, seeing got any pictures, training news, and nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. So Cunha, Aït-Nouri should all still start. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I think the dilemma that people are looking at is Raul. I also watched that conference press from Silva and Chitlistic mentioned about the international players coming back, and Silva they mentioned about Jimenez should be available to start this game, which is also a dilemma for us, man. When we tinkering our team later, we will discuss on that. All right, let's go to the next match. Man City versus Spurs. Man City also really on dire form. They lost 4 games in a row in all competition, but I think there's the most importantly, Pep Guardiola did sign a new contract, 2 new years deal, and this could be the turning point for Man City, I suppose. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So the biggest thing is that Kovacic in sideline for 3 weeks to 1 month. So that's a big thing. But it does mean that those of you with Lewis might have a good showing chance. Now, obviously, he's not featured here in the predicted lineup, which I feel is wrong. Gundogan should no longer be a first choice. He should come in, and so I think Lewis can be there instead. Because when you look at that, there's no defensive midfielder, is there? I wouldn't classify Gundogan. Gundogan's more like a box to box, and Bernardo Silva is definitely not a defensive midfielder. So the good news is that you got Stones and Akanji, who will most likely start, but not Ake. And if I can't remember that guy's name who started, at first when you found out he started, it was it's a good thing, and then they ended up losing Jacob Pose or something like that. Yeah, so that experiment is over. Guardiola, of course, should start. I think people still have him in their lineups, and of course Haaland. But of course, the biggest news is, of course, KDB has had enough time to relax, so he should be able to start this time around, and I think that will make an impact to Haaland's defenses. There is a question with Foden. Because he has started the last 4 and he hasn't done anything. Has he done anything, Hafiz?
Not for me.
Yeah,
definitely.
He hasn't done anything. So is he safe? We can't rely on past history, how good his form is, because he hasn't been good. So I don't know. I'm not confident that he will even start this one. I don't know. It depends. We'll see. But the good thing is on the Spurs side is that Romero will miss. NJ has confirmed maybe next week he'll be back, but no first choice centre back pairing in Romero and Van der Ven. So which means Dragusin and Davies will be at centre back, which is good news for the likes of Haaland. So hopefully he's not angry anymore as he was against Brighton. And those of us who have been following the international break, you do know that Haaland has got 4 goals in total, 1 goal in his first international break match, and 3 and a hat trick in his second match. So in terms of form, not to worry. He's like Raul, he's in the nick. So the other news is, of course, Bentancur, who's currently on a 7-match ban for saying something about how Son or his cousin, they all look alike, kind of racist, supposedly racist comment. I do feel that the punishment is over the top, but that's I don't want to discuss that there. That can be discussed in the British content creators channel. So I think we all think that this will be a whitewash for Manchester City finally win against Spurs, but it's not that easy. Yeah. I think Spurs still have enough firepower, and we do know that City's defense has been very porous as well. So I'd back the likes of Solanke to find a way through and score at least 1 goal.
Yep. We know what's the principle for Spurs. They will attack at any cost. But for Man City, a big blow for Kovacic. I think that spot, can I say it should be for Johnstone to come in. He can play that role. But I'm not sure about the rest of player. You mentioned about Gundogan and Bernardo Silva there to cover at the defensive midfielder. But Johnstone could do that work. And you expect Lewis to start this game, man? You mentioned just
because if Stones goes to midfield, then who starts at the centre back with Akanji? So and because Ake doesn't look like he's ready, so I do think that Lewis will be there instead of Gundogan. That's my thoughts.
Yep. The predicted score for this game is 3-1. You mentioned about Spurs can get a goal. I think that could be the case for this. And if you're one of Haaland owner thinking whether to move him on or thinking about captaincy, without that first partnership,
first Yeah,
partnership. Yeah, back line. That could be a case, right? For Man City to really, all the narrative is there. Pep signing the new contract, City on losing streak. They really need to bounce back against this at home, right?
Yeah, the signing contract was a bit funny. Is it in lieu of the issues City are facing? Because Guardiola lost 4 games in a row or something. The first time he's
Yeah.
not won 4 in a row. So then suddenly contract signed. It's like, oh, okay. Some confidence thing. I don't know.
Okay. Let's go, man. To the next one. Also, opportunity for Liverpool because Southampton also facing some issue in defense. So, what's the latest news?
Yes. So the thing with Southampton is that Ramsdale will be out. I think some fracture, and Jan Bendarek, who also got injured during the international break, which suddenly, this whole dilemma of who to captain suddenly takes another turn with, because the concern with Southampton is that they're going to do the slow block thing, prevent not scoring a lot, and of course the issue with Liverpool is that they might want to rest the players early because they play Real Madrid in midweek.
That's a
So
reality.
yeah, so we got Howard Bellis and then Jack Stephens is coming in and McCarthy comes in. Now McCarthy is a rubbish keeper personally, so I don't think because we've seen him before when he used to be the first choice for Southampton as well, but I don't think that he will be that good. I do think that Bednarek, whose organizational responsibility as well as Ramsdale's presence is going to hurt Southampton very much, so they won't be able to do that. We do know that Southampton, they can be quite stubborn in wanting to play out the back. So if they keep doing that, that's going to really hurt Liverpool. That's really going to hurt them. Liverpool are going to destroy them. Now, on the Liverpool side, the biggest problem now with Liverpool is that Trent Alexander-Arnold has not trained. Now, a lot of creativity side rests on TAA shoulders, although people like Salah are capable of creating their own chances as well, but TAA is responsible for in terms of really impacting on the build-up. So him not around could dent it slightly, but everyone else seems to be okay. Although Alisson may not be ready, he's not going to be ready to come back yet. He's started training but not ready, but that's okay because Kelleher is probably the best second keeper. I think I mentioned this before. Jota's not back yet, so Nunes and Gakpo should continue to start, or it could also be Diaz. I don't know. There's no news about Diaz. So he didn't come back late either. So
Okay.
so he should. So I don't know whether or not he'll check because but it's also not just Diaz, but also the other guy McAllister also coming back as well. So they're probably gonna check.
I think the last time around, Diaz and McAllister did bench after the international game, right? If I'm right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the first one he didn't was bench. The first international he wasn't bench, and he scored 2 goals, right? That one, and then there's now the second international break he was benched. So it's not that easy to predict this one. Yeah. But of course, you got Nunes, Diaz, then McAllister who was in South America. Yeah, but it looks okay. Nunes, midweek he was substituted off in not because of injury. I think it was just a tactical. So, but even without TAA and slightly adjusted attacking lineup, I think it's still Liverpool should be too much for Southampton. Now I saw a flash question. Who was it asking? Risk of 60 minutes. How much? I think this is a serious risk. Rakat IPL. I think before 60, maybe not. Yeah, but if Liverpool are comfortably winning, then it look. Okay, look, if Liverpool are winning 5-0 at halftime, then yeah, Salah might get subbed out at halftime. But otherwise, I can't see it happening. Not before 60 minutes. The only issue is that I think I mentioned in our earlier stream is that Salah tends to do well.
Yeah, in the second half, right?
In the second half, because as the defenses are tiring, they're so busy chasing the ball, and that's where he really kicks in. So that is a slight risk. I don't think it's a big risk though.
Okay, I think the biggest news coming from the presser for Arne Slot is Trent will be out. I think will be out for a while. I'm not sure for how long, but he's definitely not going to play this game. That's why the printer lineup mentioned about Bradley, and people are already moving away from Trent because he's priced at 7 million. And then at the same time, I also don't want to get into that um, conversation in terms of who's going to start Diaz, Nunes, so on. We know anything can happen. Slot have option. They have a lot, a pool of player that he can choose. They have some tough fixture coming up, Madrid and then Man City, right? So this could be the game that he could actually rest some of the key players or start and also sub out later in the game, not playing the full minute. I think that could be the case for this game.
Yeah, the other concern I have is in terms of Tsimikas and Robertson. That I feel that is personally an area we should just avoid. It's going to be hard because Tsimikas can do a job, but Robertson did well when he came back in Gameweek 11. But it's for FPL purposes. Let's not. It's good for Liverpool, but not so good for us.
Yeah, I think although Liverpool are expected to win this game, I'm not sure whether they can win big like 5-0 and so on. Southampton might be can at home especially. The predicted 2-0. Liverpool definitely going to win this, and they expected to keep a clean sheet.
Right.
All right. Next game, mate. Interesting time for Manchester United fans. Amorim is the club. I actually watched the full press conference for Amorim, but he did not reveal any in terms of team news. So what the latest news for both teams?
So the biggest news for Ipswich is that Greaves looks like he's returned to training, but we don't know he'll be back. Looks like maybe not, but for your favorite cheap Ipswich defender, at least as long as he's back, then he'll will start, and will be very useful in this peak period, because we need to have a very, very functional bench, because there will be random disappearances, injuries that you need to cover, so you need to be ready for that. Okay, so that's Ipswich, and we do know that they came off a fantastic 2-1 victory. I'm sure they would have loved to not have the international break, but in a way, it's probably better that they had the international break, because they don't have as many players going away compared to other bigger teams. But yeah, that 2-1 victory against Spurs is something they'll take to heart, and that was away at White Hart Lane. Whatever it's called, Wembley Stadium. So now they're at home, and now they're facing a new United with a new manager who we've seen from the training. A lot of 3-4-3 formations and trying to decide. A lot of analysis out there. I'm not gonna bother. You watched the press conference, so you can tell me. I didn't see this one, but it looks like Rashford might come back, and as a key part of Amorim's setup, and if you look there, Garnacho isn't there in that predicted lineup. The other people that definitely may do well in the formation, is FPL wise, is Mazraoui as well as Diego Dalot. So those of you who have them, it's great. And of course, I'm sure those with Bruno Fernandes will hope that he will continue in that form that he's had ever since Ten Hag left. So Amorim needs to channel that form that Fernandes has. But in terms of how they're going to play and whether or not they'll do well with it, we don't know. But I think the stats that you came up with in midweek, saying Onana was one of the best keeper at the moment. Yeah, maybe that's a good place to start for Manchester United.
I watched the press, and when journalists did ask a question, not specifically on the players itself, but Amorim did mention that he will do his way. Okay, interesting. Some of his quotes during the presser, he will do his way, and he is open to anything, depending on how the players will react and so on. So it means that, to me, it's still uncertainty which player that he's going to pick, although we do expect the big players should be there. But in terms of Garnacho, Ahmad, who else there? Ugarte, right? Casemiro, Mazrui Dalo, who's going to start at the back, and so on. So it is up for question, and I'm looking forward how Amaran going to line up this weekend to first a glimpse of how his team will line up, and after that we can comment who's player that we're going to pick moving forward. Even though Bruno Fernandes is spoiler a bit among the top players to pick or being chosen by FPL Manager this week. Later we
The only problem is the fixtures. After that they got two decent ones now, but after that
it's Fish and Everton.
But after that it's quite a challenging run. So
all right. The last game for this weekend, Newcastle versus West Ham. A lot of eyes on Isaac this week, especially for Newcastle Isaac, and also Lewis Hall to an extent. What's the latest news for both teams?
Right. So Isaac is probably the hot
property
pick of the week. So in terms of injury news, not much. It's just that Trippier could be back. So we're not sure, but definitely not Callum Wilson. So Isaac should continue to start. So it's just a case of how they set up. So you got Gordon on the right and Joelinton on the left. So it looks like Gordon's continuing to play on that right side, which for me makes him not the best FPL pick because he's less goal scoring opportunities. Not to say less goal scoring opportunities. It's just that he's much more comfortable on the left. So the thing is, Isaac is the hot. I think he scored 3 games in a row before the break, and the only thing is that during the international break they played against Azerbaijan, Switzerland, and in midweek, and they got off 6-0, and Isaac didn't get any one of them. It was so sad. He had 1 goal disallowed, and he also got a penalty saved. And Kulusevski scored 2 goals in that one. So it's a bit frustrating for Isaac, but I don't think it was harming. It's just a bit of trivia. So West Ham, no real changes. Fulkrug is still out, but Lopetegui also mentioned a couple of doubts, but they didn't mention anyone specifically. Kudus, as we know, is still serving a suspension. So I mentioned last time that Lopetegui might be the next manager on the chopping block, and so it's no sign of easing. It's a really tough one. It looks like the squad they have is just not good enough. There's a lack of pace in the middle, for example. So it's really, really, the jury's out as to whether Lopetegui will hang on until mid-December. I'm not sure, but if Newcastle continue in this form, that's gonna be an easy points for them, and they're playing at home as well. And we do know that Eddie Howe seems to be pretty good at adjusting his tactics. He's not scared. He's not of changing the way his team plays based on the opposition. He does. He has shown the ability to adapt and adjust accordingly. But against West Ham, Newcastle will be just too much. Easy win.
All right. I think that you spot on in terms of talking about Dr. Hay position right now. West Ham really off form, and they have 2 tough fixture coming up starting this week, Newcastle, and then next week away. Against Arsenal, right? So can't take any better than that, right? So those 2 fixture definitely a tough one. Whether West Ham can deliver is up for question. But they face a tough challenge for sure.
The only thing with Newcastle is that Dan Burn is suspended because he got his 5 yellows. So that's why that you got Kelly there in the center with Shah. So that's the only thing.
Okay. We concluded all team news and pressure, man. Let's go to the top transfer for Gameweek 12. In and out. Top 5, I do mention about Bruno Fernandes just now. He is the top player to be transferred in this week. Close with second place, Mo Salah. People had enough on Haaland, I suppose, distributing money to midfield right now and getting in like Mo Salah. Bruno Fernandes, is it knee-jerk move, I'm not sure, but he actually hauled last week with 70 points against Leicester at home, and they face Ipswich and Everton in the next at least two fixtures. So I'm not sure whether that is it, but that could be the right move, and this is what people are thinking right now. And I still remember during the midweek stream, Hafiz is one of the managers who brought Fernandes in for this week. So third place, Isaac. If you want to distribute money, Haaland for Isaac, and then you remove from your enabler in midfield and upgrade to Salah. I think that's the move that people are looking at. Virgil van Dijk, a replacement for TA. It could be. So he's number 4. And then Cunha, after that 12 points last week, people are really getting him in for foreseeable future, because Wolves do have really good future coming up. In terms of top transfer out, no surprise, TA. I'm not sure about his price. He's still at 7 million, already reduced to 6.9. I think that is the projection looking at. So if let's say he's already reduced, so means that just let me take a quick look about trend. How much his price now? He's still at 7. Okay, so but he should expected to drop right me in terms of expected point reduction. Haaland second, Solanke after another blank against Ipswich at home. People definitely frustrated about that. McNeil, one of your player, to maybe to move because uncertainty, but he expected to start this game. And then Johnson, same goes for Solanke, Spurs asset against City this week, especially they're moving out from their team. So what you can take from this transfer traffic,
Just quick amusing thought is that you got 3 out of 5 are players I own who are being transferred out. So Haaland, McNeil, and Johnson. But anyway, so Fernandes, no surprise, not really surprised given the form he's shown at the moment. So those who got him earlier is great, but for me, I wouldn't buy him now. I'd probably still play the wait and see game. Salah, Isaac, yes, no surprises. So for Virgil, right? Obviously, it's most likely because of people getting rid of TA, wanting an alternate. So obviously, Virgil is better than Konate in terms of set pieces. He has better track record as well. The only problem I have is that we picking up Virgil means that you're trying to hopefully get some points from set pieces. The problem is your main set piece taker, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't going to be around. So at least not so quickly. So I'm not sure how much you can get, but I think Virgil does have a decent record against Southampton as well in terms of scoring. So you can check it out. And of course, it's a former club. He used to be for Southampton, so maybe there's also that little factor there. So Cunha coming in again, it's probably on the basis of his win, although his great points in the week before. Although to be fair, it's not that great a matchup for him. I think we talked about this against Fulham, but anyway, he's the one player that if Wolves do something, he'll be at the heart of it. So in terms of transfers out, McNeil's no surprise, because if people are trying to adjust their squads for the peak period, will definitely be given the boot because Everton have bad fixtures coming up. Alexander-Arnold, of course, I think people who have been holding him for so long now decided that's it. Cukup lah.
Cukup lah sengsaranya, right? So I did refresh back the FPL site. I can confirm now TA price has dropped to 6.9 and Salah already increased to 13 million right now, 0.5 million more than his initial starting price this season. Nori price already also risen to 4.8 million, and also Murillo from Forest 4.6 million right now. So that's the latest price changes.
I'm loving the Nori increase because I picked him up a bit earlier. So I'm very happy. I'm at wildcard game week 9, I think it was. So very, very happy with it.
All right. Quickly on Scott picks for game week 12, final selection who are scout picks are picking for this week. Martinez in goal at home against Palace, so maybe they can get clean sheet. Van Dijk, we did mention, one of the top players coming in for this week. Gabriel and Lewis Hall as a representative from Newcastle at home against West Ham, and he could actually deliver some attacking return. Bruno Fernandes against Ipswich, Palmer in there, Leicester, Aston Villa, as mentioned, double up players, Rodgers and Salah away to Southampton, and Smith Rowe, Fulham versus Wolves. Nunes up front. Okay, surprise one when we talk about players, because but Liverpool are facing Southampton, so we can see there in terms of Liverpool representative, we have triple up, Van Dijk, Salah and Nunes, and then we have Isaac up front at home against West Ham. So what do you think, man? Is this pick decent for Game Week 12?
Yeah, coming to Nunes, I think that maybe Jackson might be a better option in terms of long term, because Liverpool don't have great fixtures, Chelsea do. So I think that, if you want to go for someone, Nunes would have been Palmer. Jackson would be a better pick. So not much comments on the other side. Smith Rowe, who continues to do well. But between Rodgers and Pedro, I would put Pedro up. I know Rodgers is playing at home, but I think Pedro is more involved and has a lot more routes to fantasy points. So yeah, I would go for Rodgers instead. I would go for Pedro instead of Rodgers in this lineup, and Jackson instead of Nunes.
I think that matchup away to Southampton, I think is logical to have three representative of Liverpool. We also have representative from Arsenal, but not so much in terms of Saka because his doubtness. But you can see there two representatives from Newcastle in the form of Isaac and Lewis Hall. I think I like that pick.
Right. The Martinez pick, I disagree with. I think that Martinez shouldn't be there.
Okay, who you pick for the best keeper for this week?
It's a tough one. I'll get back to you on one. Maybe Newcastle. Pope.
Okay. Pope. Okay. All right. Okay, man. Let's go to our team. Let's see my team first. I have 0.1 million in the bank. I want free transfer. I already made my move. Before that TA price drop, as we discussed yesterday night, we're expecting TA to drop. People are already moving in his top player to be transferred out this week. I already made transfer in another form of Liverpool player, not Van Dijk, but I took a cheaper player, which is Konate. I think despite people mention about Liverpool fixture a tough, at least 3 away games in the next 4, Southampton, then Man City, then Newcastle, then Everton. On paper, going to be tough, but I do believe Liverpool's are currently the meanest defense in the league. They only considered 5 goals, and I want a piece of that clean sheet potential in Liverpool. And we did mention about Robertson is not rotation risk with Simicast. We are not going for Bradley. Van Dijk 6.3 million now, a bit expensive for me, and I'll go for Konate 5.5 million, still decent. And to me is set and forget. I can just leave him, and hopefully he'll play for the next 6 or 7 matches into that Christmas period. So that's my take, my transfer week for this game. What do you think?
I have to say I totally agree. I mean, just now we were talking. I was mentioning how Chelsea has better fixtures than Liverpool when we talk about Nunes and Palmer. But where the defense is concerned, it's a totally different thing. So I totally understand you getting Konate and rather than Van Dijk. I'm kind of agreeing with you because you're looking for clean sheets, not so much in terms of the attacking threat. And it also frees up some funds for you to use elsewhere. So that's which I believe that's also some motivation that you have as well. Yeah. So other than that, hang on. So you've made one transfer only, right?
Yeah, I already one transfer. So I already made one free transfer this week. I just read out my team for everyone. Flecken in goal over Fabianski. I have Gabriel Konate and Nuri right now. And I'm benching Michael Lengo and Greaves. That could be a debate, but I believe Anuri away to Fulham. At any point, Anuri has potential to score or assist. He is that kind of role. Palmer, Foden, Bobo, and Semenyo in midfield. Haaland as my captain. Raul and Cunha and Rogers at my bench for now. I think the dilemma is whether to play Rogers over those players. That is something for me to think in the next few hours before the deadline. I think that's how my team set up.
Yep. Yeah, Rogers on the bench. I guess, yeah. It's a tough one, but yeah. Michael Lenko. Yeah, that's another tough one because I'm struggling with Ainuri this week. So yeah, we'll have to figure that out. But otherwise, yeah, all good. I like them. Right. That midfield is hot. Although Foden is something for you to look at next week if he still doesn't return again.
I want to post this. Brenda Ong did mention about Hafiz. You may consider Bruno if you're okay with it. I understand to replace Foden for Bruno, but I actually should have made that move last week, not this week, because I'm already in charge. And then after that, these two fixture, I just take a look back in terms of Man United fixture. They have Arsenal, Forest, and Man City after that. So I'm not sure whether that is the right time for Bruno to come in. I think we'll think later once I'm orienting more in terms of selection are more secure. Who is Amorim players for his team, and then I'll decide. I think that's my move. The move is Foden for this week. Hopefully he play. And the next week I move him out to Saka if he's fit, because Arsenal have decent fixture for this Christmas period. Okay. All right. Thank you for the advice, Brandon. Okay. Then let's go to your team. You have three transfer, 1 million in the bank, and plenty of choice you can make for this week, right, mate?
Yeah. So firstly, I'm gonna put Sels instead of Sa. I think I've committed to that, and just hope. I don't think either one will keep clean sheets, and I'm just gonna hope that there's some save points to be had. I do think Arsenal will fire off a lot of shots, so it's just a case of whether or not Forest can not score. So of course, one of the shots is coming from Gabriel, who I will also have in my lineup. I do think having Arsenal now, there's no reason for me to sell. And then you have Robinson there and Guardiola there. So Aït-Nouri is the question mark I have at the moment. But of course, Aït-Nouri, like Guardiola, he gets into a lot of attacking positions. So, I'm not so confident about dropping him yet. But of course, he's on 4 yellows. Then McNeil, who I was checking on injury news, and I feel confident that Everton will score in Brentford, and if against Brentford, and if they do, Everton will McNeil is most likely to be involved. Salah is now my captain, so it's no longer
okay. All right.
Okay, to be fair, I've switched around 6 times now since the start of the international break. And then Mbeumo is there, although he may not be much longer. And the thing is, if Brentford is fit, I'm not so confident with Mbeumo at the moment, so I'm not sure. So I'll have to make a decision on that. Yeah. Then you have Raul, who, although initially I left him in the bench, but I put him back in after the press conference. Marco Silva says there doesn't seem to be any problem with him starting. He's fit. Cunha, of course, is central to the heart of everything Wolves do in terms of attack, so he gets the start. Then you have Haaland as well, who should be able to score against Spurs. Which means my bench is likely to be Sa, Rogers, Johnson, and Justin. So Rogers, I'm just looking at Villa's injuries. I'm not so confident. I feel that Rogers might have to spend a bit more time at the back. So that's why I have a bit of concern there. He may have to spend a bit more time helping out in the defense. So yeah.
So you're not making any move? Because in midweek you did mention about getting in Palmer.
So I've decided not to go for Palmer. I think I'm gonna adopt a wait first and for the home match. But I am still looking at Semenyo. I do think Bournemouth have a good run of matches. If I do, it'll be for Johnson, although that will again create another benching problem that I'll need to figure it out. Yeah, and the more I look at, the more Ait Nouri might be sacrificed, but it could just as easily be Guardiol if I'm feeling very risky. It's a tough one.
Understand. A quick question from Brandon Ong: is it time for you to move Guardiol out? What's your feeling on Guardiol right now?
If he doesn't go out this week, he will go out next week. So if I end up benching him, because if I want to make a room for Palmer and keep Haaland, then Guardiol is the one who I will choose to go between him and Gabriel to find the funds. So I haven't decided yet, but again, thanks for asking that. It is an important question that I need to answer at some point.
Okay, I mean, let's quickly run through some of the questions from our viewers. Rakan MP Adik mentioned about Haaland triple captain this week. Thought, how's you feeling about captaining triple captain Haaland with this kind of form?
No, not yet. I think triple captaincy even against Spurs is not that. It's a bit too risky for me. Yeah, I'd rather wait. Yeah, I'd rather still wait for that one. Yeah,
I concur with Azmin. I'm on Digny, so he likes because Digny potential scoring. Villa in the next 4, 3 at home, so fixture nice for them because they have Crystal Palace this week, away to Chelsea next week, not so much, but then Brentford and Southampton at the home. So thoughts about Villa clean sheet without Konsa, but Digny on attacking potential he has, right?
No chance. Sorry, no chance. So you're gonna have to rely on the attacking, and to be fair, he has a chance of getting attacking returns. I can't see a CS chance, not just without Konsa, but without Kamara, the defensive midfielder, and Onana, the box to box. So I feel without these three, Villa has no chance of a CS. Sorry.
All right. Interesting question, this because I am not sure what's the answer. ESR or Rogers at home, because both are playing at home. Rogers can potentially return also, right,
Yeah, I'll definitely go for ESR versus Wolves at home because simply for the fact that Fulham is in better form than Aston Villa at the moment. So that's really based on the perform basis.
Fair. DCL, if you have him, keep or sell. I think it is sell, but if you still have any other transfer that you really need to make, you can actually play DCL this week at home. Give him a last chance, but it's a sell to me, right,
Sell first chance you can get. If you have no fires elsewhere, bloody hell, sell DCL for Joao Pedro.
Okay, and save money and have better.
You save money and better.
Collins or Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis at home. I'm not sure how he will line up. Collins away to Collins versus Everton away. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Not so big either way lah. I go for Rico Lewis because knowing that Kovacic is out, Rico Lewis should get the start.
Yeah, I agree. He has Johnson like you, He's thinking to move him on for Gordon this week. A nice entry point, right?
Yeah, I can get on board with this. I think Gordon will do well, and Newcastle have a decent run. Although, Johnson, of course, Spurs, want to have one of the better attacking stats. But if you want some returns now, then Gordon is probably the one you should go for.
Right. I think last is about Pedro Neto. There's a hype in terms of this Chelsea midfield. Looks like secure for now. 6.2 million. Is it a good punt?
What do you think, Hafiz, your player?
I'm worried. Okay, I just want to mention about Chelsea. Regardless, you feel that Pedro Neto have a potential. He can play right or left, but somewhere there you feel at any time, especially in this Christmas period, because you want to spend a transfer and leave him for a while to perform right, and they always risk, which I don't like. Despite 6.2 million, I do feel if you can secure player that more nail, I don't know, like 6 million plus who, and my mind first is Garnacho, that kind of player, but Garnacho still you need to see how Amorim will line up. So we'll go to other place. Even keeping Johnson for now maybe still okay. Despite Man City, they're playing Man City this week. They have Fulham next week at home. and then Bournemouth, which is still not bad, and Southampton in the next 5, maybe that can still be a consideration.
For me, I'm in love with this guy. I think he should do well. The only problem that has put me off is the fact that he's on he's on 4 yellows, so he could get suspended. So that's the risk. But if I had found out he was on 4 yellows, I would have sold him for Johnson actually, and plugged him in. So yeah.
All right, that's all for this deadline streaming. Just a quick one, how people are doing at our league. Just show this. Number 1 right now is Afan United, Ashraf Akbar. He is Ipswich Town fan. He scored 79 points last week with a total 728 points. Who he has in his team? Cells in goal. Nuri, Robinson, both have clean sheet, and Aina not so much. They lost 1-3 against Newcastle at home. Bruno Fernandes, 17 points. Mbomo, Palmer, and Mo Salah. He captain Salah. Raul and Wood and Haaland up front. So he has Salah and Haaland partnership, and Bruno in midfield, and also Palmer. So really nice. Can I see him in?
Yeah, it's pretty solid. And although I don't know whether or not he still wants to keep Wood till then, but yeah, it's really close up there because he got Sukahati FC breathing down his neck, closing the gap by 3 points. So it's an interesting show. Me and Arafos still there, but Arafos had a bad week last week, so he's dropped quite a bit there. So hopefully he can come back up again.
Yep. Close fight. Sukahati at second place, TOS at third, dropping. Jelebu FC, shout out to everyone into top 10. Simpang Pulai, Aeroforce, mention our friend there, Hafiz Faizal. Kijang Merah, Beta Team, the real champion FC, and Panji Hitam in the top 10. Keep up the gap is like 20 points, so you could easily be number 1 by the end of Gameweek 12, right? So plenty. All right, that's it for our deadline stream. Good luck to everyone for this week. The deadline will be at 7 p.m. Malaysian time. So plenty of time to think. So that's my last word, Min. How about you?
All the best for those looking for Chelsea, Leicester team news especially, and we'll see you on the other side. Bye.
All right. Okay, good luck. We are really excited to be in this festive period. Enjoy plenty of FPL matches for sure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.